Saltwater crocodile. A 17-foot saltwater crocodile bites down at 3,700 psi. That is the highest bite force ever directly measured on any living animal. Recorded by Dr. Gregory Erickson at Florida State University after more than a decade of physically testing every crocodilian species alive. Your jaw closes at around 160 psi. The crocodile's is 23 times that. What that number actually does is this. Bone doesn't bend, it shatters. Thick hide, shell, and anything caught between those jaws is gone in a single motion. But here's the part that breaks the scale entirely. That 3,700 psi was recorded on a 17-footer. Scale up to a 20-foot specimen and estimated force reaches 7,700 psi, the low end of T-Rex bite estimates. There are crocodiles alive right now, in rivers people fish and bathe in, that bite with the force of a dinosaur. They have been doing it for 85 million years. In all that time, nothing evolved that could take that niche from them. The saltwater crocodile didn't become the record holder by accident. It became one by being a force-generating machine from the very first day of its evolutionary line. Great white shark. The great white shark's bite has never been directly measured on a live animal, and the number scientists modeled anyway is around 4,000 psi. A 2008 study used X-ray imaging and computer biomechanics to estimate that a 21-foot great white generates roughly 4,000 pounds of bite force. Because that figure comes from modeling and not live testing, the real number could be higher. What separates the great white from everything else on this list isn't the raw force, it's the teeth. Great white teeth are serrated triangles built not to crush, but to slice. The jaw doesn't need to hold its grip. It cuts through, withdraws, and lets blood loss do the rest. A single bite from a large great white removes enough tissue that the victim often dies before reaching shore, not from the impact, but from what comes after. And unlike most predators that wear their weapons down, great whites replace their teeth continuously. Up to 20,000 teeth over a lifetime. The weapon never dulls, it just keeps regenerating. Hippopotamus. A female hippo has been measured at 1,800 psi. The males were too aggressive to test safely. That detail alone tells you something. Hippos open their jaws to 180 degrees, revealing canine teeth that grow up to 50 centimeters long. Those teeth are not for eating. Hippos are strict herbivores. They are weapons, evolved purely for combat and territorial defense. And they are effective enough that hippos have been documented biting 10-foot saltwater crocodiles clean in half. The animal with the highest directly measured bite force on Earth gets cut apart by something that doesn't even eat meat. That's not predation. That's a territorial statement delivered at 1,800 psi. Hippos kill more people across sub-Saharan Africa than lions, leopards, and Cape buffalo combined in most regions. Most victims were in a boat or on a riverbank and never registered the threat before the jaw was already closing. You don't hear the hippo coming, you just stop being there. Jaguar. The jaguar doesn't just have the strongest bite of any wildcat, it evolved an entirely different kill strategy built specifically around that bite. Every other big cat goes for the throat. Jaguars go for the skull. At around 1,500 psi, the jaguar's jaws drive the canines directly through bone, killing prey before it can struggle. The teeth don't strangle. They penetrate the cranium and reach the brain. This technique is faster, more certain, and requires a bite force no other feline on Earth can produce. Jaguars regularly bite through turtle shells and the thick armored hide of caimans. Pound for pound, their bite force quotient, force relative to body size, exceeds wolves, tigers, and bears. A 200-pound cat killing prey the way a hydraulic press would. The jaguar doesn't need size or speed to be the most dangerous cat in the Americas. It just needs one clean bite. It always gets one. Grizzly bear. A grizzly bear can bite through a cast iron skillet. That sounds like exaggeration until you account for the physics. Around 975 psi of bite force driven by jaw muscles so thick they form a visible ridge along the top of the skull. What makes the grizzly's bite particularly dangerous in practice isn't the peak number, it's how the force is applied. Grizzly bites don't compress cleanly like a vice. They tear, rotate, and strip tissue in multiple directions at once. Doctors in bear country developed specific antibiotic protocols for grizzly attack survivors because the wounds are deep, irregular, and heavily contaminated from a diet that includes rotting carcasses, raw fish, and crushed bone marrow. The grizzly isn't built as a pure predator. It is built as an animal that needs to consume everything: meat, bone, wood, shell, root. And the jaw reflects exactly that. No distinctions, no limits. Whatever is in front of it gets processed. Spotted hyena. People assume the hyena survives on whatever lions leave behind. That assumption is wrong, and the jaw is why. Spotted hyenas generate around 100 psi, and their skulls are built with a unique arched structure that distributes bite force across the entire cranium, protecting the skull from the pressure the animal itself creates. Hyenas don't just eat meat, they eat bone. They crush femurs, pulverize vertebrae, and extract marrow that every other predator on the savannah walks past. When a hyena pack descends on a carcass, they don't leave scraps. They leave nothing. No bone fragments, no hide, nothing recoverable. They consume kills down to the molecular level, including the calcium-dense remains that have no nutritional value to anything else alive. The hyena isn't a scavenger with a powerful bite. It is a precision bone processing machine that also happens to make most of its own kills. The jaw is the point. Everything else follows from it. Alligator snapping turtle. This animal has no teeth. It has a beak, 1000 psi of force, and an edge so sharp it has been filmed severing a wooden broomstick cleanly in half. It can remove fingers. It bites through bone without effort. The alligator snapping turtle is the largest freshwater turtle in North America, reaching weights up to 250 pounds, and it doesn't chase anything. It lies motionless on the river floor, opens its mouth, and wiggles a small pink appendage on its tongue that looks exactly like a worm. Fish swim involuntarily. The jaw closes faster than a human blink. The force concentrated at the tip of that beak doesn't crush material. It shears it. The whole system is patient, invisible, and completely silent. The snapping turtle isn't competing with crocodiles or sharks for dominance. It built something more efficient than dominance. A trap that works every time, powered by a jaw that needs no second chance. Gorilla. A gorilla doesn't eat meat. Its bite force of around 1300 psi exists entirely to process plants, bamboo shoots, thick bark, roots, and fibrous stems that would destroy a human jaw in minutes. The molars are the mechanism, wide, flat, brutally dense, and backed by jaw muscles so developed they require their own structural support. In mature male gorillas, those muscles attach to a bony ridge along the top of the skull called a sagittal crest, a feature the skull grew specifically to anchor more muscle mass. The long canines visible in adult males are almost entirely for display and intimidation during confrontations. The real force comes from the back teeth, grinding through material that no other primate can process. The gorilla holds the strongest bite in the entire primate order. It built that jaw not to kill, but to eat things that resist being eaten. In a list defined by predators, the gorilla is the reminder that power doesn't require a target. Sometimes it just requires dinner to be very, very difficult. If this sparked your curiosity, consider subscribing so you don't miss future animal content. Thanks for watching.